Hey there, and welcome to Jaguar Talk. My name is Francisco Perez, and I am the coordinator for community relations at South Texas College. Today, we'll be talking about the different financial services available to students and how you can obtain the help you need. With me today are Carolina Miranda, financial aid specialist, Claire Forrester, coordinator of veteran recruitment and engagement, and Jessica Money, cashier. Welcome. So, Caro, students don't always know where or how to start their financial aid application. What is the first step to apply for financial aid?
I would recommend students to look at the different types of options that they have available. There is different types of financial aid available for different types of students. If students are going to be applying for the FAFSA, the first step is going to be applying and submitting their application for the FSA ID. If students are going to be applying for TASFA, then the first step is going to be to obtaining the TASFA documents that they will be required to submit.
And where can students submit this FAFSA application?
The FAFSA application is an online application. This application is available every year, starting from October 1st throughout the whole academic year. It's open. Okay. The website is fafsa.ed.gov, and that is fafsa.ed.gov.
Perfect. So when submitting the application, your age determines the documentation you'll need to submit, whether you are a dependent student or not. What is this age?
The age is 23 years old. That is correct. Dependent students will be required to put parent information on the FAFSA, and independent students do not have to put parent information on their FAFSA.
Also, many first-time students are a bit intimidated by the FAFSA application, but who can students speak to if they have any questions or they need any help submitting the application?
That would be to a financial aid specialist. We do have financial aid specialists in all of our campuses, and we are available over phone and over email as well. Throughout the very first step, if you are not sure if you're going to be applying for a FAFSA or TASFA or what aid there is available, we will also walk you through every step of the way, all the way up to you receiving your financial aid money. Financial aid specialist.
So when you submit the FAFSA application, you're actually applying for several types of aid that are available. What are some of the financial resources available through this application?
The financial aid available for students are grants, scholarships, student loans, and veteran benefits.
Okay. And what is the difference between a grant and a scholarship?
Grants and scholarships are both types of money that does not have to be paid back. However, the application for the grants and scholarships are very different. The grants, they are federal money and state money that would either be with a FAFSA or TASFA application. The scholarship application, that varies depending on the scholarship. Some of the scholarships are need-based, but some of them are academic-based as well. The typical scholarship application requires students to submit a PDF application as well as a written statement or answering a specific type of question that the scholarship requires. So it just depends which scholarship application they're applying for.
I've also heard about the South Texas College scholarship application. What is this application and who qualifies?
The STC scholarship application is a fairly new scholarship that we do have available. The neat thing about the South Texas College scholarship application is that it is one scholarship application, but students are being considered for multiple scholarships at the same time. We do have it available on our STC website. Just go ahead and go to the South Texas College Study B website, type in scholarships, and it'll take you directly to our STC page. We also have different types of scholarships available that are individual scholarships as well.
Okay. And I've also been hearing about the CARE scholarship. What is the CARE scholarship and who qualifies for it?
There's two different types of demographics that are going to qualify for the CARES Act scholarship application. The first step is students that are recent graduates from high school that graduated in spring of 2020 and will be registering for full-time in the fall of 2020 semester. Okay. The other demographic of students is going to be our traditional students. Our traditional students have to be registered in at least 9 hours. However, there is different types of requirements for the CARES Act scholarship. I recommend students to look at the website for every requirement. Some of the requirements do include having a FAFSA, a 2020-2021 application on file. They must be eligible for financial aid, and they must be U.S. citizens or eligible non-citizens. That is some of the requirements for the CARES Act scholarship.
And so Additionally, we all know that student loans are, our last resort, obviously, but sometimes they're absolutely necessary. So, how can students apply for a student scholarship? I'm sorry, a student loan if it's
Okay.
needed?
Of course, sometimes this is the case. Students don't have any more financial aid available, or it's their last option. There is different types of loans available here at South Texas College. We do have our short-term loans, which is going to be with our cashier's department. We also offer long-term credit-based loans with our financial aid department. The application is fully online. It is available on our STC loan website. Okay, they have different requirements, different interest rates. So if you're interested in applying for a loan, I recommend for you to go online, onto our website, do some, research, and apply to the loan that is best for you.
Okay. And also, you mentioned earlier the TASFA application. Who should submit this application?
The TASFA application is for students that have a working social or students that are under DACA. Students that are not U.S. citizens or permanent residents can apply to these state grants by submitting a TASFA application.
Okay, and where can they find the TASFA application?
The TASFA application is going to be available on our STC website under TASFA.
Okay, and if I understand correctly, it's you basically print it out, correct?
Yeah, it's more of a manual process. This is not it's a similar application to the FAFSA as it's, that it requires similar information. However, the process is different. It's more of a manual process. This can either be submitted in person, so it can be printed and filled out, manually with a pen, or it can be filled out electronically because it's a PDF format, and it can be submitted through our JAGNet as well.
Okay, and for students who have questions about financial aid or they need any help, how can they contact you?
They can contact us at any of our departments. We are available at most of our STC campuses. They can contact us over the phone at 956-872-8375, or they can send us their questions to our email account, and that is FINAID, that is FINAID, at southtexascollege.edu.
Okay, and so far up to today, are the offices open for students?
We are open to students. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have also taken safety measures to prevent the spread of COVID. We are using sanitizing protocols. We have our plexiglass installed so that our student has that safe barrier between that financial aid specialist that they will be speaking to. We are recommending students to schedule an appointment if they want to speak with a financial aid specialist. That way we can limit the number of students that we have in our lobby, and we are making sure that we are keeping the student at a safe distance.
Okay, thank you so much for the information, Caro.
You're welcome.
Hey, Claire. So veterans and their dependents usually qualify for additional financial benefits. What kind of VA benefits are offered?
So veterans and dependents may qualify for GI Bill benefits that can assist with their tuition and fee payments or provide a monthly housing stipend to them, depending on what they're eligible for. A lot of the GI Bill benefits, there's multiple chapters, so it really depends on how long the veteran served, when they got out of the service. And then for the dependents, it also depends on the disability rating for the veteran. So students who have questions about that, they can look at our website, and we have it broken down by the veterans benefits, the spouse benefits, and then also for dependents and then reservists and active duty members as well. In addition to the GI Bill, there's also the Hazelwood Act, which is a tuition and fee waiver through the state, which is for Texas veterans. That one provides up to 150 hours of waived tuition and fees at public schools in Texas. So for that one, there are instances where it can be transferred to the dependent, and in some cases, the spouse can be eligible as well. And then for active duty service members and reservists, they usually qualify for tuition assistance, which assists with their tuition, but doesn't provide any money for fees or books and supplies.
So who's a qualifying dependent of a veteran?
For a student to qualify as a dependent of a veteran, they would either need to be the biological or stepchild of the veteran, or they can also be claimed as an IRS dependent on their taxes. Usually a dependent is eligible until they're 26 years old. There are some cases where that can be extended, but typically once they reach the age of 26, the benefits cut off. And then for spouses, typically for them to qualify, the veteran would need to be 100% disabled through the VA.
So what documents do students need to bring with them when they apply?
Definitely one of the most important documents we're going to need is the veteran's DD-214. That document's going to let us know how long the veteran served and when they got out, and is really going to help us determine what benefits the veteran's eligible for, and then in some cases what benefit the dependent is eligible for as well. For a dependent, they would need to also bring in their birth certificate, or they would need to bring in the tax transcript, or like a birth certificate and marriage license, so we can verify how they're linked to the veteran. And then for the spouse, we would definitely need their marriage license so we can prove that there's that relationship.
Who can students contact if they have any questions regarding VA?
If students have questions about their benefits, or they're just kind of curious what's available, they can contact our office at 956-872-6723. So that number is going to bounce around to all our certifying officials who can help them out with their benefits. And then they can also go ahead and email us at vaoffice@southtexascollege.edu, and we check that email daily. So that way students can get information through there. Right now, we are operating by appointment only, so we're kind of encouraging students, if they do want to come in, that they either call or email us first, because we're going to try and determine if they actually need to be here on campus or if we can do most of it remotely.
Great information, Claire. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Jessica, for students paying out of pocket, what options do they have?
For students with out-of-pocket costs, our cashier department has several options. We have installment plans and emergency loans. These are designed to help students manage their college expenses without having to pay everything in full.
Okay, and are installment plans available year-round?
Installment plans and emergency loans are available on certain dates, contingent on when they begin their classes. However, usually when one installment plan closes, another one opens. As for the emergency loans, they are subject to fund availability and end date.
Okay, and how can students enroll into the installment plan?
For the installment plan, students are able to enroll via JAGNet, their personal account. If they still have questions or they're unable to enroll into the installment plan, we do recommend students to make an appointment to see a cashier, and we can assist them via in person in order to make their installment plan. At this time, though, they do require to have their down payment ready in order to enroll for the installment plan.
So you were mentioning emergency loans earlier. What is an emergency loan?
An emergency loan is a very short-term loan. It's there designed to assist students with paying for their college expenses and books, something that the installment plan does not include. In the emergency loan, you are able to apply for it, and you are able to cover your tuition costs. A down payment is required. However, this one is contingent on fund availability. So if the funds are depleted, then we no longer offer the emergency loan.
So can you give us a little bit more information on who qualifies for the emergency loan and how it works?
So for the emergency loan, we require students to be enrolled to a minimum of 3 credit hours. You must apply online. If you are approved, you will receive an email with instructions on how to pay for your 25% down payment and when your scheduled payments will be. For the book allowance, there is also a minimum requirement of 3 credit hours. However, there is no down payment required. The amount that you receive in assistance for books will be contingent on the amount of hours you are registered for. For either one of these loans, you must also not be defaulted in any other student loans.
Okay, and if students have any questions regarding any of the cashier's services, or they need help enrolling into an installment plan, who can they reach out to?
We recommend our students to use the self-service options, as that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by going to finance.southtexascollege.edu/business office/cashiers. Or they may contact our call center during normal business hours at 956-872-3455. They can also email us at stc_cashiers@southtexascollege.edu. Any of our cashiers will assist you via email. Lastly, if you still feel that you have any questions or that they can only be answered in person, we encourage students to make an appointment via studentservices.southtexascollege.edu, and they can make an appointment and we will assist the student in person for any further questions. We also recommend students to ensure that they have their student email activated, as that is the only form of communication we use at the cashier department.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the information, Jessica.
Thank you.
This concludes our Jaguar Talk, and I would like to thank all of the staff in our financial services for the work and dedication to our student population and their safety. If you have any questions about the services discussed in this video, please contact us to the emails and phone numbers provided throughout the video. Stay up to date by adding us on social media and subscribe to the South Texas College YouTube channel. Until next time, Jaguars, keep learning.